Coming to a YouTube channel near you.
Welcome, everybody. How are you doing this evening?
I am a little tired because I drove from Ohio back to Wisconsin today, but I got to listen to one of your earlier shows, which was so fun, and had some time to think about what I'd like to chat about tonight. So it was good. And where I was I think I had mentioned last week, I was going down to my adopted grandkids' house to bake Christmas cookies and have an early Christmas with them. And so that was just absolutely touching and lovely and so fun, and had a spooky, cool moment amongst many, but one that really stood out that I wanted to share with y'all, and I will a little bit later. But how's your week been, Grizz? I'm sure you've been busier than busy, huh?
Always, yeah.
Yeah. What's the weather like down there, right? You're going to get that same snow we're going to get up here in Wisconsin, or not so much?
I have no idea. I know it's cold.
Yeah, it is definitely cold.
Sure.
I meant to mention, y'all, sometimes I can see parts of the comments in the chats and y'all are saying hi, and I'm not trying to be rude by not saying hi back to you, but I haven't figured out how to type and talk at the same time. So just forgive me. I appreciate anything you post there, but I won't be typing back while I'm trying to talk at the same time. So I just want to make sure y'all knew that. But anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Boy, a week to Christmas. Whoa, right? Busy time for those of us who celebrate Christmas for sure. And it's just a busy time of year too, right? We were talking about it last week, but so let me tell you the fun little thing, because it had to do with Christmas that happened. So when I went now this family is an adopted family to me, so I don't know them all tremendously well. I've spent a little time with them, but it's really sweet. They adopted me as their grandma. I got to adopt them as my grandkids because I don't have much family on this side of the veil anymore. So to me, that was a great opportunity to just be with a family and have that wonderful spirit of Christmas there, and bake the cookies and just and the kids are still young. They're 9 and 11. So the younger one still believes in Santa, and the older one is kind of starting to question it, but is still hoping. So right. It's kind of sweet. So I walk in, and we're sitting there and we're chatting a little bit, and I'm looking at the beautiful tree, and they're explaining how each year they go to a tree farm and they take turns in the family members who gets to choose the tree, and whoever chooses the tree, they name the tree. And I thought, well, that's a different tradition. That's interesting. So this year, Kira, who is the daughter that I've kind of bonded with and become friends with, and it's her kids that have adopted me as the granddaughter, grandma. So she said, yeah, I was trying to figure out what we wanted to name the tree this year. And I just thought, I love Disney, and I love all kinds of characters. Alice in Wonderland just popped in. So we decided to call the tree Alice. Well, I just started bawling because that's my mother's name, is Alice. And it's like, of all the random things to call a tree, to call it Alice. And on the way there, not a half hour before, I had heard that really sad that old Christmas carol, the Christmas shoes. And it's about a little boy who's trying to get enough money to buy shoes for his mom who's dying of cancer. And it's just like, so I was like sobbing in the car, missing my mom. And then I get to the house, and her husband is, his whole family is Polish. And my mom and her whole family was Polish. And so I was like, oh, I said, my mom must have done a little bit of, pulling a few strings or planted a few, whisper in the ear kind of thing. But it just changed something that was just this kind of trivial, weird little tradition they had into a really meaningful moment. And they were all like, really? No, really? That's sick. And I guess sick is good in these days for a younger generation, because they were like, that's just sick. And I'm like, I don't know. That's her name. But that's really cool that you chose to name your tree after my mom. You didn't know you were naming it after my mom, but it was very, very cool moment. So I wanted to share that with y'all because, we are all intuitive. We've talked about this before, but how many times do we just discount it or poo-poo it or not recognize that there has been some grace or the hand of spirit or the voice of spirit prompting or some little nudge in a direction, that proverbial God wink, right? Where something we perceive and we do or a decision we make turns out to be a blessing or something bigger for other people and ourselves as well, because of our willingness to kind of listen and go along with whatever that spiritual nudge or wink or prompting happened to be. So I think it's important to recognize, you don't have to be a professional psychic or a medium or somebody who's studied for a gazillion years to still get really profound, beautiful, graceful, spirit-inspired moments where you can create that sense of magic for somebody just because you were paying attention. And so I just wanted to remind everybody of that, especially in this season, right? We're all so busy. We're running here, there, and everywhere. But if you catch that little something, hold on to it. Figure out what you're supposed to do with it. Because invariably, it's going to be blessing somebody else and creating a much more memorable moment. And it's also going to do something else. It's going to encourage you to do it more, to pay attention more. And so I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to talk about. So do you ever have any of those kind of little teeny promptings yourself there, Grizz, where it's just like, it doesn't feel like this big revelation. It's this little thing. But then later on, you find out like, dang, that was a ding, ding, ding moment.
Right.
I had a few of those. Yeah. Yeah. So here that my friend is just, randomly thinking, I'm just thinking of Alice in Wonderland. We're going to name the tree Alice. And meanwhile, it turns this whole Christmas moment where I was missing my mom and my own family. And here with this new adoptive family, it was like this hand in glove moment of spirit of, passing the torch to, okay, we may be on this side of the veil, but here's your new family and here's the bridge. And the tree wound up being the bridge. So I thought that was kind of fun. Anyway, the other thing that, I've been really thinking a lot about this time of year. We touched on it a little bit last week about the darkness just in general, because we're coming up on the solstice, which is the shortest day of the year as far as hours of sunlight, and at least in the northern hemisphere here. So for us, the sense of darkness is really interesting because it gives us an opportunity to look at parts of ourself. I don't want to necessarily like the dark side, right? But it gives us a chance to look at what are some of the parts of ourselves that maybe we need to shine more light on. It's sort of like, is there mold in the cracks in the bathroom, in the shower? It's like, this time of year gives us a chance to do that kind of deep spiritual cleaning. And we want to take the opportunity to really look within and say, all right, well, what might be, and asking those questions, what might be holding me back from being the best me I can be? What's holding me back from serving in the way that I want to serve? What's holding me back from developing my spiritual gifts or going and exploring and seeing what else might be out there for me? Even if I have a whole toolkit already, what's the new stuff that's coming in that really wants my attention, right? So if we're not willing to kind of do the work and clear the space so that we can have more light, if we don't deal with the darkness, we can't bring in as much light, right? And we talked about the darkness last time more in the sense of the responsibility we have as light workers, especially during this time of year, to shine our light, to be extra kind, to make sure we are impacting people's lives in a positive way, and to really take the spirit of the holidays. And we talked about it. It doesn't really matter what religion it came from. And it even doesn't matter if it's a sort of hijacked holiday, because let's face it, the reason that we all are doing Christmas this time of year, I believe even though, Hanukkah this time of year, Kwanzaa this time of year, we went through it last time, right? Well, Ramadan's this time of year. I think it all goes back to the pagan holidays, that this time of year was when they lit the new fires, right? Beltane, I think it is. And they lit the new fires, and they had this sense of the new year and the newness and the new light coming. And so all of these other, welcome, all of these other cultures and religions and organizations said, hey, if we want to kind of compete with the people that are already celebrating this time of year, let's, and it's a festival of light and bringing more light into the darkness. Well, Christ is the light of the world. He's bringing light, right? The Hanukkah is the candle lights that were in the temple. Kwanzaa is also candle lights. Ramadan is the light of the new year and the new beginnings, right? So all of these happen all around the same time. So I don't try to get too wrapped up, whether astrologically or chronologically or calendar wise, that there's accuracy to, yes, it is on this date and at this time and in this place where this happened. Because probably realistically, if you kind of look back at weather and the stories and timelines and other things, it probably was a whole different time of year. It was not now that all these things happen. But the fact that they all kind of coincide, it creates this momentum, this wonderful building vortex of energy, of goodwill, of kindness, of love, of appreciation, of gratitude, of connecting with something greater than ourselves, of sacrificing part of ourselves for something greater, like the people we love and care about, and the people that we're trying to help and serve especially during the holiday season, regardless of which holiday you celebrate, right? Being with family, making and sustaining old tradition, or honoring old traditions, or making new traditions, and involving other people in different ways. So the spirit that's here is a real energy. And the energy of the holidays is something that we can very much access, tap into, and utilize in our lives to make things better, to empower us, to get clarity on the vision of where we want to go, to plant seeds for manifesting in the future. And so we talked a little bit that this time of year, the veil is thinner. So having perceptions of all of the benevolent interdimensional beings, whether they are angels, loved ones in spirit, guides, alien entities, or otherwise, something that we don't even have a name for, but they're a benevolent energy that wants to come through and communicate or assist and help us in some way. This is a time of year when the veil is thinnest, and we're able to also project our intentions and energies into the future timelines to create better manifestations of what we want and need in our life, and what we want and need for our society, for our community, for our loved ones, for the planet, etc. So, I just saw somebody was newer on the chat here, and they were saying, well, what are you talking about? What's the topic? And so, y'all, if you're new to the show, the first at least 10 or 15 minutes, I tend to rant about what's on my mind and heart, and what kind of things Spirit have been having me ponder about in the week in between. And so the big three right now were the presence of light, the darkness that can be useful to us, and that holiday spirit, that energy that's a real viable energy. And so you don't have to necessarily buy into any particular dogma or doctrine or timetable. Just understand that for at least a few thousand years, and for some of the newer holidays, a few hundred years, people have been honoring these traditions and building an energy base. It's kind of like in the church or the temple, after hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of people have gone in there and prayed or sang or chanted, or even around a sacred American Indian fire, right? They've gone, they're sacred meeting places, right? They have their lodges where sacred things take place. That repetition of sacred acts, of chanting, of singing, of praying, of celebrating, of communing, of coming together, literally creates an energetic footprint, right? And it builds and builds over time as more and more people honor it and do it. So this time of year, think about it, right? We have 4 or 5 different cultures that all coincide with this last month of the year that are celebrating the presence of light, that are encouraging people to be kind, to share love, to do not just random acts of kindness, but to make a point to positively impact the lives of others. And there's sounds of the season that touch us, right? They're bell ringers for the Salvation Army, right? You hear that everywhere these days, right? You hear different music, holiday music in most public spaces that you're in. There's a different feel in the air, even though everybody is, not everybody, many people are stressed and running around, and their to-do list is longer than their ability to do any of those things, right? It's like there's still that spirit of generosity, of patience, of compassion, kind of like, let me remember the reason for the season as I'm going through all these runnings and comings and goings and doings. And that is something that we need to hold on to. That's something that we should notice. And there is a reality to it. I don't care if you're the biggest atheist on the planet. God bless you. You can be, right? You don't have to believe in God or a source or a creator or any of that, right? You don't have to believe it. But I do ask you to just enjoy the energy. You don't have to believe in snow to go enjoy skiing or sledding down a snowy hillside, right? So if the energy is there for this sense of brotherly love and fellowship and sisterhood and coming together in community and charity of spirit, right? Because this is also a time like Toys for Tots, right? There's not necessarily a religious connotation for Toys for Tots. Lots of organizations will get donations and give to different children's causes, right? There's all kinds of reading programs for the elderly that are in assisted living. There's all kinds, right? Reading for the blind, working with animals in the shelters. This is a time of year where our hearts are just so expanded that we feel good about doing these acts of grace and kindness and love and service for anyone who pops into our awareness to do it for, whether they're animals, whether it is people, whether it's loved ones, or whether it's strangers. This is part of what makes this time of year so precious and why so many people look forward to it, because they feel that energy. And as we also talked about in the past, and it's definitely worth repeating, for anybody who is feeling alone during this time and can't seem to feel the spirit, or they can't seem to find that energy, right? They're like, I know it's there somewhere, and they hear the elevator music and it pisses them off. Or they hear the bell ringer and they think something jaded or sarcastic instead of, wow, that's some volunteer there ringing a bell to get some money for a good cause, right? Right. So you may find yourself in a negative mode, even though the vast majority of people seem like they're swept up in that holiday spirit. So if you're not in the holiday spirit yourself, there are things you can do to get there, right? First of all, catch yourself being the Grinch, right? If you're going to be the Grinch and if you're going to be this bah humbug about everything, right? First of all, check. Do you have a reason to be so miserable? Some of us do, right? Some of us have been through hell. We've been there and back. We're like, okay, I'm just not in the mood this year. I'm just gonna take a back seat on this one. And that's okay. But you don't have to go out of your way to be a negative influence on people who are in that joyful mode, right? And even if you're not really feeling it, I imagine if you went and hung out in that animal shelter and played with some puppies and kittens, or if you went to a department store, even if you don't believe in Santa, and you watch those 5, 6, and 7-year-olds going up and their eyes wide, as they see Santa for the first time, right? Or their wish list of the sweetest things that they ask for, and you're like, oh my gosh, they want, they're making wishes for their brother or little sister instead of themselves. And it's like, you watch a movie like The Grinch and you see like, wait, it's not about the stuff, guys. It's about that sense of family and love and community, right? What makes the Grinch's heart go from pea size to 10 times normal, right? And have him just filled with that sense of love and spirit. It's when he hears them singing and he realizes, like, I took all their stuff and they're still happy because they know stuff is transient. Stuff comes and goes in our life, but it's those connections, the memories we make, the people we cherish, the loved ones that we create traditions with. Those are the ones. Those are the things that make the holidays so wonderful and special. And again, if you're feeling on the outside fringes, I invite you to try to find a way to get a little closer. Maybe just, like I said, observe it from the outside, or actually dive in and help from the inside. There are Santa's helpers everywhere. They look for those bell ringers for the Salvation Army. Those are volunteers, right? Go to a Toys for Tots center and help to sort and wrap toys for the children in the hospitals. Go to a soup kitchen and help serve up soup for the poor homeless people and help make the holiday meals for them. So there's things that you can do. And I guarantee you, if you kind of do something to get out of the quicksand that you've trapped yourself in, of the negativity of I don't want to see the light. I don't want to hear the sound. I don't want to feel that love for whatever reason because I'm hurting. I honor your pain. I'm asking you to make another choice instead of wallowing or exacerbating the pain. Do things that'll help you shift away from it, that will help heal that heart, that will help you heal and feel connected. Because, there's certain things that you just can't heal just by wishing them away, right? When there's a loved one that's gone, they're gone. Whether it's through divorce or death, it's sad those first couple holidays when you're alone. If you're in the armed service, God bless you and thank you for your service. And if you are any civil servant, firefighters, policemen, sheriffs, you name it, any of the folks that are out there working on the holidays while the rest of their families are gathering, doctors and nurses that have to be on those shifts, air traffic controllers, pilots. Think of all the people that probably are sad they can't be with their family, but they're doing it because they're serving the rest of us who are trying to be, or wanting to be, or able to be safe and with our family and our friends during the holidays. So I think if we can focus on the others and the hearts that they have, that sense of service that they have, and be of service to others, to kind of get out of our own way, those are the things that can help us heal and also create new traditions that will give you something to look forward to. Because if you do go volunteer at a soup kitchen, you're going to meet other people there that are like-minded, like-hearted, and you may make some friends. So the following year, you may still choose to do that because it filled you with such a sense of belonging and being able to give a gift to somebody that wasn't requiring monetary or time shopping or you having to know them well. You were giving them a gift of something they truly needed, which was a hot meal, respect and dignity of being served by somebody who cared about you, right? So these are the kinds of things that, we can go totally crazy with the holidays that we enjoy and all the old traditions. And whether you're trimming a tree or putting lights around your house or wrapping up the presents with all the bows and ribbons and fancy tags and, all that sort of, the things that maybe those are fun for you. or having, like, I'm going to have some girlfriends over on Friday. We're going to do a cookie swap and we're going to have Christmas carols playing. And that's going to kind of be my jump start into the home stretch of Christmas, right? A little bit more. And so those are things that, those times spent with each other, that's what helps us really feel good about the holidays. So, but you have to make, exactly. Time is one of the most precious gifts we have to give to others or to take for ourselves when we're creating those traditions and say, you know what? I'm going to look at all these different options of things I think I want to do or need to do or have to do. And I'm going to really prioritize the ones that mean the most, that are the ones I can leverage for the biggest bang for the buck, right? Do those things and make sure you have the time to rest and recharge so you can enjoy. And again, if you're feeling depressed or angry or alone, please do something to get yourself out of the quicksand. And if you find that I'm so stuck, I can't get myself out, please do reach out to the Bigfoot community. You have friends here. Reach out to any of the hosts. We all give you our information. It's there. You can email us. You can text us. If you need something, reach out to us. We'll help you. That's part of why we're here. We're trying to share the light, the love, and be of service in whatever ways possible. We don't have all the answers. We're just as imperfect humans as you all are, right? None of us is like, well, I got it figured out. No, we don't. But we've maybe dedicated part of our life to that service of others. And we realize at this age in our lives that some of the best legacy we can ever leave is touching people's lives in a positive way and being there for somebody when they're struggling and being that hand to help them up and out of whatever stuckness they're in so that they can become more and more of the person they're meant to be and want to be in the world. I picked cards for today, as usual. And for those of you who are newer to the podcast, I usually will pray a little bit ahead of time and ask Spirit to just kind of inspire me to pick some angel card messages and oracle card and tarot card messages that would be relevant to pretty much anybody tuning in. So as you're listening, see what things touch your mind, touch your heart, ring true in your gut, and let those kind of soak in and ponder. And if it's something that helps you, I hope it does. And if it gives you an inspiration or a little creative poke to try something, please do. And again, if you ever have questions or need something from us, please do reach out. And if we're not suited, if we're not well enough equipped, there are lots of professionals out there that, they have their hotlines, they have their support groups. We just have to be courageous enough sometimes to raise our hand and say, hey, I need help and I don't know where to go. Can you help me find where I can go? Can you help me find who I can talk to? And can you give me an idea of something wacky I can do during the holiday season to get through it? Because I'm not into any of those other traditions. Sure, we can brainstorm. We are not alone. We're not meant to be alone. We were all aspects of the offspring of the Creator, right? We are individuations of some oneness. And because we are all individuations, we have our own quirkiness, our different looks, our names, our personalities, our skills, things we like and don't like, etc., right? Our talents. But we all also know we kind of come from that same starseed, if you will. We have that, we're family. So we were meant to come down together. We all volunteered to say, okay, we're going to leave the spiritual plane and come explore and see what this whole 3D physical world reality is all about. And then let's see if we can ascend and get to some higher realms together, right? I think that's part of the plan, right? What can we do to create heaven on earth? What can we do to ascend and get back into a little bit of that spiritual dimension? So you're welcome. The first card that I chose today was communication, because I do think, especially around this time of year, it's so important for us to be true to ourselves, to be honest with each other, but also to be there for each other, to be really clear and kind in our communications, and maybe to think twice, right? What's grandma's old advice there? You know, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk, which of course I don't really do as much when I'm on the podcast because I'm supposed to talk here. But in general, we're supposed to listen to each other, right? And help each other and talk to each other. Chris is laughing. He's like, this girl does never shut up. Oh. I think my grandmother would get a hoot. Oh, well, they're in spirit, but I think they would both get a hoot out of podcasts and doing all this. They'd be like, wow, that's like cool stuff. The next card I got, so first one was communication, right? Oops, there you go. Then I got the card of family. And so, like I was saying, you know, part of the reason we are here together is we are all part of that one world family, guys. I don't care how different we look at the outside. I don't care if we have different politics, different religions, different socioeconomic classes, different races. I mean, how many different things can we be different in? Like check all the boxes. I don't care. That we shouldn't be focused on the differences. We should be focused on what brings us together. And especially here in this chat and in this podcast, if you're tuned into this podcast, guys, ladies, everybody, you have light. You are a light worker. You have a curious mind. You are curious about and interested in the paranormal, which means paranormal, above the normal. None of us are normal, right? We know there's something more than whatever this square box of normal is. There's something beyond that. We know, believe, and hope that. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be here on this channel. You wouldn't be tuned in listening to me today. And a show called Spiritual Street Talk. If there wasn't something in your soul that resonated with light and finding your purpose and having more joy in your life and figuring things out and acquiring more spiritual gifts and tools and techniques so you can not only have a kick-ass life, but you could be of more and more service to your brothers and sister and fulfill the measure of the creation for the reason that you were born, where you were and when you were on this planet, provided you were born on this planet. If you're some alien watching this, just cut me some slack. But you know what I mean. If you're here now, it's for a reason. Okay? And we are all family. Then, past lives. This card came up, and I thought that was kind of interesting because the past life card reminds us of the ancient wisdoms that are available to us, the knowledge, the gifts, the experiences, the connections. And I can imagine, I wouldn't say I'm going to bet you because I'm not a big gambler, but I can bet you that almost every one of you that are listening or watching tonight or whenever you're tuned in, I bet you there's somebody that you've met in your life that when you've met them, you almost instantly said to yourself, gosh, I feel like I know this person. Or, wow, I just met this person and I really feel like I can trust them. Or I really like them. Or there's something about them, right? There's this quality that is just so engaging to you. Most likely, that's because this soul, that vibration, this aspect, that individuated is familiar to you because there was another time when you guys individuated together and were related somehow. You were interacting, you were friends, you were family, you were lovers, you were in some same circle, and you are remembering and recognizing each other. You know how there's that saying, the eyes are the window to the soul? Well, when you look into somebody's eyes and you have this sense of, wow, I dig this person. Oh, wow, I love their energy. Wow, that's great energy. Wow, I like this guy. I want to spend more time with this person. I want to become friends with them. I feel like I already am. When you start having those kind of reactions because you've looked in their eyes, you've connected with their soul, that probably means you have a connection with them from another time, from a different aspect of your soul when those aspects knew each other. So that's exciting to me because that reinforces that whole concept of family and how important it is to communicate and be kind and be graceful, unconditionally forgiving and loving with yourself, as well as unconditionally loving and forgiving of others. Okay, so then I picked 3 tarot cards for today, past, present, future. So the past was strength upside down. And this is kind of a modified past, present, future. It's like, or compressed, because I was thinking short term. So in the short term, yeah, you know what? I don't know a lot of us that are feeling really strong. I know I'm feeling really stretched thin, right? I'm there. I'm like, I'm challenging myself to get all the stuff done, to go where I need to go, to do the things I need to do. I'm tireder than I've been. I was sick with bronchitis for a little while, as y'all know. But, you know, I went through a little medical procedure last week. Thank you so much for the prayers. I'm in that healing process, and it's all looking hopeful. So thank you so much. But our past for a lot of us is we weren't feeling particularly strong. We were feeling a little out of balance, a little bit like, I got to work on this, right? I got to work on becoming stronger and healthier and better, because I know there's good things coming that it would benefit me to be stronger and healthier and better in order to do those and have the most amazing experiences possible in our futures. The next card I chose was the 5 of Rods upside down. And because it's upside down, it's a fabulous, fabulous card, right? It's fabulous because it's about getting together, pulling together, being organized, using your intuition to help you figure out how do we all, what parts do we play? So we're not all trying to do the same thing. It's like if you're planning out this 5-course meal and you have 5 different chefs in the kitchen, well, do you have everybody trying to do each one, or do you kind of divide and conquer, right? This card says, whatever way your intuition tells you is the best. And it might be some people go on one thing because that's a bigger thing that needs more effort. Maybe we do divide and conquer in some things. Maybe we're the support team for each other in certain things, right? But this is about knowing we're all in the boat and we're all pulling at the same time so that we're maximizing the return on the investment of the effort of our stroking, right? Because if we're all pulling differently at different times, you know what? That boat doesn't go anywhere quick. It doesn't. It can wind up going in circles. It can be like, you know, a lot of splashing happening and not a lot of movement, right? When we listen to our intuition, when we follow the wisdom of that 5 of Rods, we get our team all on the same page. And the team on the same page, that could be your family. Like, are all the members of the family on the same page about family time or game night or sharing meals together? Or what is your device policy, you know, when during holidays? You know, do you have one of those baskets by the front door that everybody puts their phone in, you know? Or no, sorry, you can't do that because we have 3 doctors in the family that are on call, so they need to have theirs. Okay, whatever, right? You might have your own rules, but it's important that everybody's aware of, are we on the same page? If you're at work, are you all on the same page of, well, is there a holiday party or not? Or what's the right procedure? Is Secret Santa allowed or not? You know, little things, right? We want to make sure, for the sake of smoothness and not wasting any energy or effort, we want to make sure we're all on the same page. And then the last card I love, 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 because it's upside down. There we go, Hermit. Hermit upside down is the teacher coming forth, right? The artist coming forth. It is the person that had that time in the cave, had that time to commune with spirit, to get in touch with their creativity, to develop and fine tune their craft or their skill, or bring forth their masterpiece, right? Their book, their painting, their music, their new patent, their new project, their new business process, their new relationship plan, whatever it is. You went into that place to figure it out in that quietness where you could commune with the deepest parts of yourself. Hermit reverses, now it's time to bring that out into the world, to share those gifts, to share those revelations, to share those masterpieces, to let other people partake of them, be inspired by them, learn from them if it's something that teaches, help them if it's something that heals. But this is a time in this near future for us it's almost like when I was listening to Spirit earlier in the year, I kept feeling, take these last 3 to 6 months of the year to heal, to prepare, to declutter, to kind of like get any of the obstacles and distractions out of the way. And in the beginning of the year, get back to that serious work, right? Get back to that calling, get back to that project, get back to that thing that you've put on the back burner for so long and you just can't wait to get to. Make the time in the new year. Let that be the gift you give yourself. But the way you can be able to give that gift to yourself is you have to clear the space. You have to clear your calendar. You have to declutter. You have to heal what's broken, right? Or at least help it be not as painful or broken so that you can not have the limitations or the handicaps that it brings you on whatever level of body, mind, or spirit you're experiencing them. So that preparing is as important as the actual doing a lot of the times. Because you know what? If you prepare really well for pretty much anything in life, it makes the doing of that thing so much easier. Even if it's a negative thing you're dealing with, right? How many people have gone through hurricanes that had a go bag? They had, or the tornadoes were coming and they have the tornado shelter. It's fully stocked with all the stuff that they need, right? The hard hat, the hard-sided case for their dogs, the walkie-talkies, the water, the whatever, right? All the things that they might need to get out if the house should get hit, right? Or the people that have to, if there's going to be floods in the area, they have their go bags and they know what things, depending on how much lead time they have, right? The evacuation plans, how many drills are done in schools and even in families, right? Okay, what's the fire drill for the house? If you're prepared, you have your first aid kit, you have all of those things ready. Well, even if it's a disaster that strikes, it's not going to impact you that maybe not as much if you're at least prepared. You feel like you have some sense of control. Now flip it to something that's a positive thing you want to prepare for. And it could be a simple thing like, oh, you want to do cookie baking? Well, you need to make sure you have all the recipes and you read the recipes ahead of time to get all the ingredients, and you go shopping to make sure you have all the ingredients and you have all the tools that you might need, the baking pans, the tins to put them in, the flippers and scoopers and all those things, right? If you're going to be cooking or baking a meal, right? There's all the little steps. Well, the better you plan and prepare. And oh, by the way, you might want to clean the house before you're going to do a whole bunch of stuff with food. Just saying, right? That's good hygiene, right? So you have to backtrack. Well, I love that Spirit has said, prepare yourselves, clear out, use this last end of the year and into the beginning of the new year to declutter, to prepare, to heal, to get yourself ready for the roller coaster of good stuff that's possible for you to come next year, right? We have to clear away the old in order to make way for the new in a lot of cases. And so when I saw that Hermit card reversed, it just made me really happy because it has that sense of the teacher, the healer, the inventor, the artist, the master coming out from his isolation or her isolation to share their gifts in the world in bigger and better ways. And that's one of the best things that we can possibly do for each other. So that's kind of the messages. And then when I asked about my book, I said, well, what should I read from the book today? There's a poem in here that came out, and it's called, it's inspired writing, and it's called Loving Kindness. So I want to take a minute to read that, and then we'll shift gears into answering questions or seeing what else has popped in on the chat and see how I can help you with that. But this is, these are an excerpt from my book, which is on Amazon. It's called A Portal to Potential is the book. And it's filled with channeled writings of messages from Spirit, questions from Spirit to ponder, inspired writings to kind of let sink in and hopefully inspire and guide us to think about things beyond our day-to-day stuff, right? Okay, so this one is called Loving Kindness. Humankind mankind, womankind. Kindness is at the core of your being, your existence. When you remember who you are in your essence, it is easy to be kind. Kindness is an expression of love, love of self, love of others, love of life. A song once said, in the end, only kindness matters. I love that song, by the way. In the eternity of timelessness, where there is no beginning nor end, love and kindness are all that matters. They create the matter of the universe. As the oneness you are expands, contracts, and exists, love is the way. Kindness is the expression, and peace is the reward you reap for sowing righteous seeds. Loving kindness. So, humankind, mankind, womankind. Like kindness it's part of our name, guys. Right? It's part of our name. We got to live up to our names and be kind. And how different would the world be if we really all made an effort to do that, not just during the holiday season, but all the time? I think we can. I think it's just a matter of being reminded, paying attention to it, and making it important enough priority, right? Because if we can get to the gym every week or get to the pool twice a week or whatever exercise routine we have, or if we can make sure we do story time with our kids or homework time with our kids or whatnot, right? If there's always different things that are priorities. So if we care enough about it, we can do it. We just have to make sure we believe that it's worth doing. And anything that's worth doing, right? What's the old saying? Is worth doing well. So be that example that other people are like, God, he is one of the kindest people I've ever met. Or she is just such a kind person. Boy, she's been through hell and yet she's still so kind to others. Wouldn't that be a wonderful legacy to have? Wouldn't that be a meaningful attribute to have somebody say about you in the end? In the end, only kindness matters. So that's kind of where we are with that. All right. So what kind of questions or comments or things have popped up that we need to chat about? Anybody have any questions there? Grizz, I don't see you anymore. I lost you, hon. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're there. It turned into some other sign. So, so did you see anything in the text popping in? Any questions or topics anybody
No,
wants
they
me
just
to
like what you're saying.
All right, cool beans. All right. So, I think one thing I'd like to do just as a extra little Christmas present or holiday present for all y'all is I think I'm just going to open up and channel a little bit and see what spirit wants to bring through. You think that might be something fun just to see?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, let's just see what's going there. Because my first choice was to sing a chorus of "Oh Holy Night," which is like my favorite Christmas carol. But then I thought it might be too much for some people, so we'll stick to the spiritual stuff instead of the singing. All right, for now anyway. Okay, so one thing I want to do, folks, is also kind of explain the process that I use to open to channel, because it's really not hard or spooky or scary, or like, as you noticed, I'm not like taking a bath or, burning 18 sticks of incense or chiming chimes or having to do a whole big ritual, because my belief is, and at this point in my life and my interactions with spirit, I simply have to take a breath, relax, and put my intention out there, open and expand my heart, and ask within myself, what is it that you would like me to know right now? What is the most important message I can share with the Bigfoot community that is tuned in today, or to anybody who's tuned in to this podcast today? What's the most important message that I could have come through? And then in the immediate silence that follows me asking that question, something will pop in. And I'll just open my mouth and share whatever pops in. So when you try to channel force on behalf of somebody else, it can be that simple. You can just practice and kind of get into that. And whether you write down the insights and inspirations you get, and you write down the messages, or you speak them, or you just notice them and think, that's interesting, it doesn't matter. The process can simply be as easy as taking a deep breath. As you exhale, relax, feel love in your heart expanding, and ask the question of spirit that you have. And you can ask for a specific loved one in spirit, a guide, an angel, an interdimensional being, anyone that you know is of the light, and that their energy that they love and they guide you from above, and that their energy around you is of the highest vibration and light. It's safe to open up to that. Breathe in and see what comes. And what I feel, the very first sense, is there is joy in this time of year, as well as great sadness. The paradoxes are everywhere, and so it is your power, our choice, our ability to decide what we will focus on and what actions and decisions will we take and do during this time of year to be that light, to live up to the potential, to be on the other side of the experience and look back and say, I did the best I could during that time. Spirit acknowledges you, acknowledges us for our willingness to even be here in the physical plane and going through all of the challenges that we do in this world and in this life. Spirit is so grateful for those of you who open up, who want to be of service, who open your hearts, whether it's through prayer or intention, ritual, or just fumbling around through curiosity and playfulness to say, how can I help make my world a better place? How can I become the best me I can be? Spirit applauds you and blesses you and gives you the support and the reminder that you are not alone. You are lovable. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of forgiveness. You are lovable and loving because of the core of your being is love. You can be a bright light because of the core of your essence is light. Be kind with yourselves. Be patient with yourselves. Be graceful and loving. Breathe. Take one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute of a time, however works for you. There is no judgment in spirit. There is only gratitude for the courage you have to be living your life as best as you can, for be willing and wanting to improve and be the better and best version of yourself possible. There is joy in the spirit realms because of that. And thanks to you for that. And that's just what comes through. Just that easy, guys. Right? Did that look scary? No, right? That was easy. That was love coming through them. That was light. That was information. Did you feel the energy? Can you feel the difference? Right? Yeah, it's coming through me, but there's another source of it. Right? When I'm talking now, you feel my energy. You know what I'm like. Right? There's a vibration, but when we open to channel, there's something that's a little different. It's a little nicer, maybe purer. I don't know what the right word is. What did you notice, Grizz? Did you notice any shift energetically?
Right. Absolutely. I did. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so that's my gift to you all is what they brought through, because you give me a gift every week of being able to live my soul's purpose, which is to do this kind of work, to share with you messages, to share stories and insights, to hopefully inspire you to be curious and be willing to go out there and see what you can do to shine your light in the world and be the most amazing version of yourself, having joy in your life and blessings in your life and being a joy and blessing and light to others. I wish you all, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, I wish you a wonderful, blessed Christmas. For those of my Jewish friends, I wish you a wonderful time of Hanukkah where you sense the light in the darkness and you see the miracles that are possible when you allow yourself to be an instrument of God in the lives of others in the world around you. For my Muslim brothers and sisters, as you start this new year and be refreshed and you are absolved from any of the sins and faults that you had in the prior year, and you absorb that feeling of forgiveness and love for one another, let that love of all your brothers and sisters on the planet spread. Everyone feel that sense of peace. And if you are a pagan brother and sister, give thanks to the earth in this time and enjoy that darkness and enjoy being in the cave where you're figuring out what you're going to bring to the light in the new year and share those gifts with the world. Everyone, we're not going to be here next week on Christmas, but we will be here the week after. So have a blessed, safe time. If you're feeling alone or you need help, please do reach out to some of us. We're here for each other. There are people that love and care about you. Feel the best you can. Be patient and loving and kind. Don't put pressure on yourself. Remember, there's no judgment in spirit, so don't judge yourself. Just feel love for yourself and one another, and you'll get through it, okay? We'll see each other soon. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.